so good.
What a serve. Wow.
First try, that was probably our best that we've ever done.
Wow. We accomplished that. And listen, from the get-go, first things first, happy birthday, Nick. His birthday was yesterday.
For those who are listening on Monday, my birthday was on Thursday, the 4th. I'm a Capricorn King, Leo Moon, Virgo Rising, if you want the whole chart. Okay, big
charge
three.
Topper. And I am an Aries.
I have the same big three as Faye Dunaway. She's a Capricorn Sun, Leo Moon, Virgo Rising. So
and completely insane.
Exactly. We're so similar.
Sorry, I'm actually going to take this. Okay. I'm Pioneer Peru.
I'm Trailblazer Nick, and this is
Pioneers and Trailblazers. Short edition. It is going to be a short episode right off the bat. I am so sorry, townspeople.
It's Peru's fault.
It's my fault, but not necessarily because we nothing's my fault.
No, you're like, actually, it's not. It's my fault. No, it's not actually. I'm not gonna take responsibility for it.
Because listen, I am such a good friend and committed to the town that we call the town. That
for the people
that I said it was even my idea. I was like, Nick, how about we do like a post-birthday recap? Let's be hungover girlies. Cut to me dead this morning,
and I woke up totally fine. Like, it's actually really crazy because last night, it was my birthday last night, and so we went out. I went out to dinner with Peru and our friend Isabel. We went to Little Frankie's in the East Village. It was super good. Shout out. And then we went to Boiler Room afterwards. I just invited a bunch of friends. And
should we talk about the situation at Popeyes?
Oh my god. Okay.
That was such chaos, and I guess we're gonna get to the nitty gritty. In 2024, we're gonna talk socioeconomics.
Yo, and we're getting right into it because we have a lot to cover in such a short amount of time because Peru has to go to work. That's why we're rushing, because she's got to go to work and she was hungover this morning, and we have a very slim window, and I have off today because God is so good.
Good.
But so we got dinner, and then after dinner we. Isabel was still kind of hungry, and she's like, "Oh, there's a Popeyes nearby. I want to stop by Smoke Shop."
Because she was also behind.
She was behind,
so she didn't get to have the first appies that we got.
Yeah, so she was running late, so she didn't get the little bruschetta that we got.
Gianna.
I know. Yes. For the table, it was really yummy. And then afterwards, after dinner, she's like, "I'm still kind of hungry." She's like, "I think I want to get a Popeyes biscuit," which happened to be just down the street. And so we're like, sure. So we pop into the Popeyes, and there was a man that was standing in there, and he was at the counter or whatever. And she goes up, and all of a sudden, he was like, "Hey, can you order me a chicken sandwich?" And Isabel, I love her to death. She's just too nice sometimes. And, obviously, what are you going to do? If someone, a homeless person comes up to you, and they're like, "Oh, can you buy this for me?"
Unhoused.
Okay, unhoused.
Thank you. I'm young.
Sure. And so then, yeah, okay.
No, but this person clearly didn't have a home. Let's just say that. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. You yelled at me for saying that someone was... for saying homeless instead of unhoused, and you going, they clearly looked it. Okay, we know who the bad person is, not me. And so he was like, "Can you give me a chicken sandwich?" And she was like, "Sure." And then he goes, "Actually, can you do the whole meal?"
So mind you, screaming and
because and I've seen this happen before where you give them an inch, and unfortunately they take a mile because they're using your kindness, and obviously they know that you're not going to say no. If you're kind enough to obviously help them out and buy them a meal, I get it, they're hungry, and it shouldn't fall on the individual to support others. It should be this is a government issue ultimately. Homelessness and food scarcity should not be the problem of everyday people who also don't have money.
Of course, but it also speaks because this one thing I absolutely is such white behavior that's it sounds like it's kind, but it's just infuriates me when you hear about people who are the drive-through at a coffee establishment or whatever that shall not be named, and then they're like, "I'm gonna cover the person behind me's coffee," or order, and then be like,
"I did a good deed for today."
I'm like, okay, what? Okay, great, but then I don't know. It just sounds like a really. It's just for me the way I grew up. For example, my mother in this situation with the person at Popeyes, I would have done it not because I'm okay, well, I gotta be a good person. I would do it because I would be afraid that the person's gonna pull out a knife or something if they're but you never know.
You never know, but that is sort of stereotyping homeless people to be violent.
No, I'm just saying that
I'm just saying
that you're putting somebody I'm just saying you're putting somebody in an awkward position, and the alternative is not good for anybody, because then you're gonna say no. You're like, "No, I'm sorry." And then you literally would have to walk out of the establishment because then you can't complete your order.
I mean, but you can never predict what'll happen. And ultimately,
I always played it on the, sorry, I come from Peru, from South America. I was always, like, taught to, like, not talk to, just very, like, be safety first. And, like, you never know when someone, my mom always says this, which is why I make the knife reference. It's not because I'm being, like, insane. Sure. But my mom's saying in Spanish translates basically to be like, you never know when someone's going to pull out a knife on you. And she's always telling me that. So she's always like, don't start shit with anybody, don't get sassy on the streets. She's like, don't get crazy because you never know when someone's gonna pull something out on you.
Sure, I guess, but in this situation, so Isabel, she's very kind, and she was like, sure, yeah, I can do that for you. And then he's like, can I get the whole meal?
Cut to us standing in the back like this.
Well, no, and he was like ordering off the menu. He's like, actually, let me get this and let me get that. And and then she was standing there and she was like, okay. And so then she was only going in for 2 biscuits because she was just a little peckish after the pizza we had. And then she ended up leaving after she spent like $16, and she's like, I got the 2 biscuits out of it. And I was like, this is not the first time that I have seen this happen to her, because like a year ago we were outside one of my friend's apartment and there's like a deli under it, and we were gonna go get snacks, and then all of a sudden this homeless man comes up to the group of us and was like, hey, like, does anyone have any cash, or like, can I like have some money? And we didn't have anything, and he was like, oh, like, could somebody just like get me like a snack from like inside? And we were all like waiting for Ubers to like leave and go home, and we were like getting ready to part ways, and Isabel, kind soul that she is, was like, I'll get you something. She's like, well, I'll get you orange juice or something. I think he wanted orange juice. And so we go in, and then he gets orange juice, and he starts picking up other snacks off, whatever. He's like, and this and this and this, and stocks the fuck up. And she's like stuck there, like, I think she like paid $20-something or whatever, like, bought him all this food, and then he just was like, okay, and then left, like, didn't really even say thank you. It was like, it was really bizarre. And then we were like, girl, you're too nice. And she's like, I know. And it happened again last night, and yeah, so that it was just like well, the weirder part of that is that the employee, clearly this person had been there for a little bit, the employee then goes and offers Isabel like a free sweet biscuit or something, like, if you want a jelly biscuit or something for, like, then in his head he was trying to be nice. Yeah, like, I'm gonna give her something for free. They should have just given. They should have just given that man his meal for free, because at that point, like, first of all, not even that. I would have been like, listen, I'm gonna give you a couple chicken pieces. Like, here you go. Be safe. Yeah, have a good night. Please, like, well, leave like, the establishment. Because, like, you work, first of all, you work for a huge corporation. Of course. They're not going to, them losing out on, like, $15 or whatever of, like, food that's probably going to go to waste anyway. Which also probably costs them, like, 60 cents. Like, exactly. It's like, if I was in that position, I'd just been like, here, girl, like, get the fuck out, please. Like, yeah, or like whatever. I would be nice. I'd be so nice about it, or whatever. But but I'm like, get your gross ass out of here. No, let me just say, I hear how Nick talks to people who call the lines that are a place of work. No, that's different. Those people have money and they're rude. You don't know. Maybe one of them, they're like saved up, like a couple months, to like go dine out, and like it's them just giving you a call because our restaurant would not be the first place that you would go if you saved up for months to get a nice dinner. I'm telling you that much right now. So then after that, we went to Boiler Room, and then I had a bunch of friends come, and it was really fun and really nice. And which, by the way, they're moving, and we are so here in this town. We are stands of Boiler Room, an iconic gay establishment in New York City. If you haven't been, before they move to like their new location, you have to hit the original. Go to Boiler Room; it's still there. No, and I loved it because it was also funny because one of my best friends, who I've talked about on the pod before, she's my friend who I thought we were friends much earlier than we were, similar to Miss Peru. And then and she shows up and she goes, oh my God, did you rent the place out? And I was like, oh no, girl, this is just what it's like on a Thursday night. Like, it was because it was mostly just like us and like all of my friends and everything. It was like pretty quiet, and even then, like, we didn't take up like we just like took over like 2 different tables at the bar. And I was like, oh no, girl, she's just kind of quiet. Oh yeah, which I love. This also reminds me of how I literally went to the jukebox because I love me a jukebox. Like, you take me anywhere, Flaming Saddles. I already have the Touch Tones app or whatever. Like, I got credits galore. Touch Tunes. Touch. What did I say? Touch Tones. Touch Toes, honey. I want to get touch toned. Touch toned. Okay. Why don't we tone these jokes? Let's tone the jokes a little bit. We also gotta talk about the guy. We never talked about this, but we haven't talked about. We'll go back to New Year's really quickly before we end the episode because I wanna see if you remember this one. But anyway.
I go to the jukebox because I love... There's two things I love at a place at a jukebox. Is country music and Paris Hilton's Stars Are Blind. Mm-hmm. You know, that's me. If you ever want to do a soundtrack to me or post a story about me, put Stars Are Blind. I will blow you. Like, it's an homage to, like, you know, knowing me at my core.
Sure.
So I go there.
You put that song on, babe. You're getting blown.
You're getting blown. The stars, honey, they're blown. Stars are blown. But
remix the remix of Kim Petras.
Yes, oh my god. Parenthesis.
Aria at work, she literally we were talking about Kim Petras, and then she's like, she's lost a lot of weight. She goes, okay, Slim Petras. And I laughed so hard. I literally looked at her and I said, I said, girl, I was like, your mind. There's something about your mind that needs to be studied.
Wait, Arya needs to start listening to the podcast. I think she was saying she was going to.
Oh, good. She said she was going to come to the last night to the birthday, and she never showed up.
Well, she had to work.
She had to work. Love her down, though.
Oh, my God. House on Boots. Shout out to Arya. Oh, my God.
Shout out to Arya if you
Lovely
listen.
girl. Wait, let me finish because I was upset. Touch tunes. I go there.
Touch toes. Some can't.
I can't. This episode is completely manic. I am losing it.
No, I think it's good. I think it's because it's short. It'll be fun, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, what drugs are they on?"
You know what drugs? Literally, it's crack it on. It's not. Anyway, so I go there, mind you. I love to play some Carrie Underwood, and we've talked about this during dinner. Let me have Carrie Underwood,
our anti-vax queen.
Anti-vax queen. Listen, her body, her choice. Like she's not forced. She's not forcing the vaccine with anybody. And you know what, Slay?
And she's hosting those CMA awards or CMT.
And she wins Entertainer of the Year every year, if not every other year. And you know what? For that, you recall her like her Pride song.
No.
Well, she had a song which was clearly Pride coded, and it came out on June. But then when she kept being interviewed about it, she was like, I just think it's about love and like everything. She wouldn't say.
Oh, because she didn't want to lose the homophobic country listeners.
But clearly, like even the cover art, like how like you know rainbow, like it was just very. Anyway,
I think rainbows are tacky.
I mean, rainbows. The rainbows colors don't suit everyone.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They really don't.
Anyway, so I went to go ahead and play. I didn't play Carrie. I wanted to start with something, you know, because it wasn't like that busy at that point. So I didn't want to just really jump into All American Girl because that would have been chaotic. So I was like, let's start with some Faith Hill. So I go there, look for This Kiss by Miss Faith Hill. This kiss. Song starts, and then 10 seconds later, everyone like turns around and say like I said if I literally just like started in the middle of the room.
I'm sorry, you're leaving out an important piece of information because the song that was currently playing when Miss Thing decides to all of a sudden switch gears was I Want to Dance with Somebody, Miss Whitney Houston, and decides to change the song mid-song.
No, this is exactly why I'm upset. So I had no idea that Boiler Room has the TV from which they play the music videos, but they also have the jukebox. So I had no idea that the song was not coming from the jukebox. I literally didn't clock that the video was playing. And so clearly it's being played by, I guess, the bartender who was this like older gentleman who was clearly fucked up.
No, but I loved him.
Oh, he was a slave, but he was like, I love you boys. I love you cute boys. Oh, I love a cute young boy. And I was like, okay.
You're like, okay, great.
Thank you. And then we tip like appropriately. At one point I even tipped like $3 on like a $6 drink.
Oh, I tipped $4 for every drink that I bought.
But then he was like, he was like so grateful, but
no, he kept being like, your change, and like, and then like waving it in our faces, and then we're like, girl, that's yours.
It's your change,
babe. You can keep that.
Yes, like he also had like the ring in his.
Oh,
what's this called? When you have a ring here in the middle of your chin, your lip. But what's this area of your body called?
Like your townspeople. Look at this. Your chin.
So I guess he has a chin ring, ching bling.
Was it a gauge in his chin?
No, it was like a stud.
Oh, he had a stud. Okay, he had a stud under his
Remember
lip.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kept, it was too loose, so he just kept wobbling every time he talked, and I just couldn't stop staring at it.
I never got really close to him for me to like notice. I just kind of thought it was like spit dribble from like a distance.
Wow, ageist. Anyway.
I never said. I'm sorry. How is that ageist?
Wow,
I never said
that old people are just dribbling away.
I literally never said he was old. You said that.
I want to dribble.
Anyway, so then the song. The song switches and everyone.
I had no idea somebody had requested, I guess, the song or the music video because it was playing and I had no idea. So I guess people were upset. And so when I pressed play, it said 2 credits for it to be the next song. So I press that, and it never occurs that the song literally stops that way. That never happens. And so clearly it was because like the aux cord was trying to like play with it.
Like someone's trying to make excuses.
Listen, everyone turned around. They wanted to murder me.
Yeah, everyone got their pitchforks ready. It was honestly kind of funny.
And I was like, what?
And you were like,
a bop.
Oh, you're like, guys, wait, I'm so sorry. And then the song stopped, and then we went back to dance. I want to dance with somebody.
And everyone literally turned back around. They just like left me hanging there. When I thought I was gonna like create a vibe, be like, oh my god, Faith Hill.
The vibe had already been created, Mama. It was so funny. And then I wore gorgeous plaid pants. I looked really good. I didn't take any photos of myself last night. I should have, because I looked.
Wait, but I took a couple photos, and then like our photos before we left, and like we didn't want to pay for the like photo booth, but like
yeah.
So I'll post those when this episode goes up.
And so I was wearing plaid, and then I guess Peru asked me what I was wearing because he wanted to somewhat, I guess, try to steal my thunder.
What?
Showed up in a flannel plaid, and then texted some other friends of ours and like, wear plaid. And so then he was wearing this like flannel, and then he was later on in the evening playing pool, and I was talking with my friend Gabby, and it was so funny because she was like, she looked at him and she goes, wow, he looks kind of straight there. And mind you, he is looking at the pool table, hip is popped, foot is like out, and he's got like hand on hip, and he's like staring at the pool table so intensely. And I was like, Mama, that is a faggot. Like, there's no way. It was the funniest thing that I was laughing so hard. I got so drunk. Everyone kept coming up to me being like, can I get you a drink? And I was like, I have like so many drinks already. And I got drunk, but I didn't get that drunk. And then I took an Uber home. It was so lovely. Oh,
once again, Nick continues on his trend of just accepting things from strangers. This one random person.
A random person came up to me and they were like, hi, are you celebrating something? And I was like, oh yeah, it's my birthday. And they were like, okay, because the bartender gave us this, and it was just like a chocolate bar. And they were like, we don't want it. Do you want it? And I was like, thanks, I'll take it. So I took this whole ass chocolate bar and proceeded to eat it.
But yeah, I was like, stop taking things from strangers. Cut to like, I was like, can I get 2 pieces?
Yeah, you're like, wait, I want some. And then we were like, watch it be laced with something. And then I like ate the whole thing, and I was like, huh, wouldn't that be so crazy? When I'm like really famous, I need to not accept gifts from people, like food.
No, never food.
Yeah.
Or like envelopes. You know, you don't want to get anthrax. Anthrax the house down. Boo. But that reminds me. So I was supposed to meet before. I was like, happy birthday, Nick, I want to get plowed for your birthday. And so I was trying to schedule a plowing session with guy who like famously told me he loved me during sex. I was, he's back for thirds.
We talked about it in a previous episode.
Back for dessert. And so I was like, okay. And so like I sometimes like I feel like when I want to hook up again with the same person, I need a reminder. So I was like, yeah, hey, send me like a picture of that cock. And he did. and then I was like, yeah, that's right. Yep. I want that one.
You're like, I need it.
But then he completely was just like, oh, I'm like helping my friend renovate his apartment. And I was like, you'd been done known since yesterday. I told you be free at 5/6 so I can take your load and then go to dinner.
So like, what about me?
And so like I was like, hey, are you good? And he was like, should be, yeah. And then when I was getting ready, I was like, hey, so I should be there by 6. Is that cool? He was like, well, I'm helping my friend renovate. And so anyway, I was like, whatever. So I went to dinner sans load. And then I was trying to because we were talking about getting ready for the night. We were both trying to like be prepared.
I had douched. I had no intentions really of having sex last night, and I didn't. But I was like, well, you never know if the opportunity will arise. You never know.
Yeah.
We're gonna be at a gay bar. There's gonna be gay men, and I'm feeling myself. I look good. Like, and trust and believe, a lot of the older men that were at the bar that were not a part of like the birthday celebration, they were trying to hit on me. Like, there was one time I was talking with
the ones hidden in the corner.
Or like we're sitting by the bar, because there was this one. There was one I was in the corner by the bar, like by where like the bartender can like exit and enter from, and we were like up against the wall, and all of a sudden this guy who's like looked like he was maybe in his late 40s, early 50s, and he was like tall, and he like walked like kind of behind me, and I thought like he was like trying to get around, and I was like, oh, okay, like I was like, oh, and like moved, and he goes, oh no, like you're good, and I was like, okay, and then he like leaned on the bar and then just kind of stood there like full body like to me, mind you, my back was to him because I was like, okay, and I turned my back to like talk to my friends, and then I could feel like see out of the corner of my eye that he was just like standing there waiting and just like looking at me, and I was like, ooh, I'm not into. I also was like too drunk, I didn't know what he looked like, but I could just like tell from the vibe that it wasn't it. And so then I was like, and then I think he just like was like, and then just like got up and like walked away. Because all of a sudden, like literally like a minute later, like he literally just like moved and like went to a different part of the bar. And then I was like, I'm sorry. That's not the intention tonight. But I douched. I fully douched. And it was mudslide city. I literally could not. Every time the water would come out, I'd be like, girl, what is happening? Where was like the major mudslides that just happened recently?
Well, El Niño happens all the time, every year, like in South America.
Yeah, my butt, but that was my butthole.
El Niño douche.
Yeah. No.
Title of that, El Niño douche.
I still like Stars Are Blown.
Stars Are Blown.
That's a good one.
Listen, funny because like, after you go through the trials and tribulations of like, like really putting your body through it and then finally reaching some level of success, you're like, okay, I didn't spend those 40 minutes in the bathroom for nothing. So you're counting down the hours. You're like, I need to use my hole before things come back down. And so I actually ended up talking to him later in the evening.
Oh,
so because I was like, maybe he'll be up later. Remember I told you, I was like, maybe he'll be up later, and he was.
Wait, so why didn't you go? Oh,
because then townspeople. Let me tell you. I guess we can go backwards just a little bit. We don't have to really talk about the real.
Oh no,
drama.
I mean, wouldn't expect us to, because it's not our drama to talk about.
Well, I mean, one drama was mine, but it was sorted out and everything's fine. But it was the portion in the evening in which like people are starting to leave and like you were leaving, and so I a couple of friends, which for the purposes of what I'm about to say, I decided not. I was like, we all live in the same area, so we're all just gonna take a car together. But there were things that I needed to talk to my friend about, and it's one of those things where like something needed to be talked about that I needed to decide. Am I going to be a good friend and go?
Or am I going to be a slut?
Or am I going to be a slut and get digged down? I opted to be a good friend.
Good
and
for
say,
you. Everyone clap. Townspeople, please clap if you're listening.
Thank you so much. Host.
That's rare for her.
Host before bros and chicks before dicks, as they say.
Yeah, chicks before dicks.
And so we took the car together. Mind you, the main reason why I am the way that I am right now is that I had no intention to have an evening after we left and we all shared the Uber. I was like, great, I'm gonna go home. Then in the Uber, it was talked about doing a nightcap at the bar that's literally right downstairs from my apartment, and I was like, sure. And then a conversation started with someone, and it ended up being a 3.5 extra hour conversation that involved more drinking and like things. And so like I didn't get to bed. I don't know if I told you this. I actually did not tell you this, so I'm telling you now. I was so hungry after like being talking for like hours, and necessarily so, I guess, it was that conversation that needed to happen, and I'm happy it did. I remember looking at my phone. It was 5:06 when I walked my ass out to a deli to buy some noodles because I was hungry. And then I made myself some noodles. As you know, famously, one time I drunkenly FaceTimed you on my way to get noodles.
Did we talk about this? I think. Oh my God! One time, Peru called me drunk. This was after. This was on Thanksgiving. This was Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving, and it was after I had sex with that person who then I talked about it in a couple of episodes. Who then like was just not interested and basically used me and gaslit me. And then Peru calls me and calls me drunk as fuck. And then I was like, "Where are you? It sounds like there's an echo." And he was like, "Oh, I'm walking to the deli. Like I'm in the hallway right now. I'm gonna go get noodles." And I was like, "Oh." And then all of a sudden the call drops. Like it just like stops. Like we lost connection. And then I tried calling him back 3 separate times and he didn't pick up. And then I was like, oh my God, like what happened to him? It's so late. Like I was like, did he make it back to his apartment? Whatever. Calls me back like maybe 10 minutes later. And mind you, this is maybe like 3:30 in the morning. And he was just like, he's like, so what did you do? And like took a deep sigh, like every other thing. I was like, what is going on? And he was like, oh, I'm eating my noodles. After each bite, he would take a deep sigh as if it took so much energy to take that bite of like the ramen.
Nemo, what FaceTiming? Like you're watching me.
No, you were. It was just over the phone.
Oh,
it was just audio. That's why I didn't know what you were doing. I was like, what? I was like, why are you out of breath? What are you doing?
And the reason why that later was a mystery so it was like it was Monica Gay. It was our Monica Gay basically. Monica
and Rise
Salt Lake. Everyone's watching Salt Lake.
She did nothing wrong.
She is. And also Heather. MVP of all time. Great. I got receipts, proof, douche water, El Nino. Like it got everything. receipts,
screenshots,
proof, timelines.
Yeah.
And so the reasoning why is because I like to get spicy noodles, and so the reason why I was taking deep breaths is because it was spicy. So it was just like. But you just thought I was just like saying, anyway,
you got your deli food.
The reason why I need to like backtrack is
I got food too. I ordered Popeyes, and so I ordered.
You ordered You didn't tell me this. Oh my god, Nick!
I ordered Popeyes, so by the time I got home, I literally got into my apartment, dropped my shit off, and then all of a sudden the doorbell rings, and I was like, yes! I got down. The delivery driver was so nice, and I got the food and I ate it. I watched an episode of Project Runway, which I've really been into recently. I mean, I love Project Runway. I've loved it. I used to watch it as a kid with my mom, and that's what got me into sewing.
Famously told you someone from that panel is terrible at to serve and tip 10%.
And I
will be disclosing that in a different format.
And one of our coworkers has fucked a contestant and fucked him the day he got eliminated off the show. And I was like, incredible. No, apparently he was really hot. I wanted it. And I was like, good for you.
Love.
But I've been rewatching old seasons just because I'm like, whatever. I got so emotional today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I was watching the finale. And this one woman who I'm like really obsessed with, she's like old, she was the oldest one in the cast. She was like in her 60s, and she made it all the way to the finale. Yeah. And I was like so happy. I didn't finish it, so I don't want it spoiled too much.
Oh, I love that season.
It's a good season. And so when she like her collection comes out,
you know who the finalists are. Like there's one as a fellow LGBTQIAer in the finale.
There's 2 LGBTQIAers.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forget about the other one.
Yeah, the other one no one cares about.
Yeah, no one cares because it's not hot. Sorry.
So she like comes out and like explains like or introduces the collection or whatever, and I was so happy. Like I was just like, this is like what she wanted so badly. I literally started crying. For her. I was like so happy. Like tears of joy just came out, and I was like, oh my god, it's just like people living their dreams and just like chasing them, and I'm just like, that's so beautiful. Anyway, so I did that while I was eating Popeyes last night.
Wow. Meanwhile, I'm just like in a fucking like really dramatic conversation. But what I'm trying to say is like, this needed to happen because New Year's Eve was very eventful, packed full of drama. Started the year full of drama, and I don't know.
Not for me. Actually, it's been so chill. This year's been so chill.
But on the fun side, do you remember counting down to midnight? And I was like, okay, Nick, have you found your midnight kiss?
Oh, yeah, the guy you made out with?
Do you remember him?
I remember, yeah.
Do
you not?
No, I remember him, but I was like, I needed to find a queer person in this fucking space because this New Year's Eve party was filled with like more like nerdy coded people because it was, you know, like live coding with DJs, and like it was a very Brooklyn like indie nerdy crowd. Let's just say
famously,
that.
Miss Peru loves like a Hell's Kitchen gay.
But I mean, I just was looking for another gay person there, and it was really hard to find. And so I saw one that wasn't. He was cute. He wasn't ugly.
No, he was cute.
He was actually pretty cute.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, you're the only gay person here. I was like, do you want to make out for midnight? And then it was supposed to be a midnight kiss that was like cute, you know. Mm-hmm. Cut to it's midnight. And we're flat out, literally just like tongue
eating face.
Yeah. And it wasn't my intention. So I wanted to get your take on that because I don't know if you saw me just eating face.
I think I did because it was.
Did you eat face?
No,
You didn't find a midnight kiss?
I don't listen. I don't.
I told you.
I don't.
It could have been Allison. It could have been someone from staff.
I did not need it. I did not. I have had a midnight kiss once in my life for New Year's, and. Someone from my hometown.
This is your last story.
This is my last story. Someone from my hometown. It was over college. I was back home. One of my friends threw a party at their apartment, and like people were whispering, and like someone came up to me like, "Oh, so and so is wondering like if you want to be his midnight kiss tonight." And like we had run in similar friend groups, but like I didn't know him that well. He's not really my type. And I was just like, I'm drunk enough, sure. Like thinking it's just gonna be like a quick little mwah, and then call it quits and be done. And so then midnight rolls around, we kiss, and then it's done, and I'm like, okay, bye, and I like walk away. Later on in the evening, he like comes up, pulls me up against the wall, and just like starts making out with me. And I was like drunk enough where I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then we go upstairs because it was like how the apartment was. There was 2 floors, so we go upstairs.
Great description.
I just don't feel like explaining. So we go upstairs, and then we're in my friend's bedroom, and he's like making out with me, and he's like sucking my neck, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have I can already know that I'm gonna have hickeys. And I was like kind of pissed off by that. And then he's like, we shouldn't have sex in her bed. We shouldn't have sex in her bed. And I literally was like, we're not gonna have sex. I was like, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna. He's like, oh, like I really want to suck your dick right now. And I was like, yeah, I'm a little too drunk for that, but thanks. And then I like clawed myself away, and then I spent the rest of the night having one of my other friends like cold spooning the hickeys out of my neck because they were so severe and intense. And at the time, I worked at a call center for a craft supply company in my hometown, and everyone that I worked with were all old women, like elderly women, and I was the youngest person who worked there. So then I had to go to work every day in a fucking turtleneck, and mind you, they kept the heat on so high because it's old people, and so they get cold really easily. So I'm like sitting in the cubicle sweating my ass off, and they're like, well, why don't you just take off your turtleneck, like, or why don't you just like wear like a t-shirt? And I was like, my
religion.
I was like, no, like I'm fine, and because like I just didn't want them to be like, what's that on your neck? Because they were all judgmental and so rude and mean. Like one time, when it was slow, I pulled out a book to read, and one woman was like, really? And I was like, bitch, you're sitting here crocheting when it's slow. And I was like, I'm not allowed to read a book. She's just like, I wouldn't do that. I was like, okay. So I was like, fuck all you. So anyway, I didn't get a New Year's kiss. I was fine with that. I didn't want to kiss anyone that was there. I saw you make out. I saw you sucking face.
Which is funny because I guess like to say that like I was like, well, duh, like everyone's gonna have a midnight kiss. I think I was the only person that like was making out with somebody.
Yeah, you were truly the only
one. It was like, yeah, Happy New Year.
You're like, we're all doing it, right? We're all doing it. Oh, just me. Oh, okay.
It was like a scene in like Never Been Kissed, or like a rom-com from like the early aughts when like it's literally like it's supposed to look cute and romantic, but I think I can just picture all of these coder lovers just like looking at me being like, what are these two fags doing?
Girl, I was looking at you and I was like, okay. I was like, is he gonna come with us to Metro? Like, what's the vibe?
He could have, but good thing he didn't, because the drama unfolded there, which, you know, some things are meant to be kept private. But
and I did one drink at Metro.
And you walked your
ass
home.
I literally walked home. I walked home from Williamsburg, which for me is an hour. This will be quick. This is my last story, because it's really quick. I walked, so the Lorimer stop for the G and the L, which I had to take the G to then transfer to the A, was down. And I literally, how I got to Williamsburg was on the G, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. All of a sudden, they're shut this bitch down. Mm-hmm. I said, what's his name? Eric Adams. Do something,
please.
And so then literally I was like, okay, let me take the bus. So I walked 15 minutes to the closest bus stop, and then because the bus was so delayed, by the time that the bus got to the station and I got on it and then got driven home, it would have been the same time had I just walked from the very beginning. And I was like, it's not that late. It was like 1:30. I was like, so many people are out. It's not cold. Let me just walk. And then on my walk home, I picked up Popeyes. I'm on a Popeyes kick.
Sponsor us.
Please. We'll take it. And then I got my Popeyes. I walked home, and as I was walking home, I had to piss so bad. And normally I can't piss in the street because I get so nervous that someone's gonna like walk up behind me.
We'll unpack or be seen.
I'm very pee shy. But no, 2024 is a new me, because I literally just like went into the corner on my street. Like I was like on like the street that I take to get to my street is like a small like side street, and I just pissed in the street with my Popeyes in hand. And then I was like, wow. Walked all the way home, sat down at the kitchen table. My roommate wasn't home, pigged the fuck out, and then passed out in bed, and then woke up and had to go to work the brunch shift.
Well, I took the train home like a good girl, not before stopping by Bagel Smith across the Metropolitan and ordering a bagel, and then forgetting I got my bagel, and then the person at the counter being like, you know you have your bagel, right? And then I was like,
for 10 minutes.
I was mad. I was like, oh. They just grabbed it and fucking walked by. So anyway, do you have a Pioneer, Trailblazer?
Popeyes. I would say I was really trailblazing, like
actually,
what are you doing? Oh, okay. It's been my drunk food of choice as of recent. It's really filling. The fries are delish. The biscuits, yum yum yum. The chicken tendies we adore, and I had it last night, and I had it for New Year's. So Popeyes, sponsor me.
My Pioneer is this book I'm currently reading, and I'm already fucking loving it. It's called The Town of Babylon by Alejandro Varela. If you need a good read, if you're a reader in the town, if you like a good book, it is so good. It's about returning. It's about like.
Is it fiction or non?
It's fiction. It's fiction. It's written by a queer Latinx writer who's also great. really great story. If you're an immigrant or you know, like come from immigrants, and if you're queer and want to hear a story about, you know, like returning to your hometown and like unpacking things from your childhood and seeing childhood people and like what those people mean to you, it is so good. And I will not be reading this on the way to work today because we'll be taking the train together, so I guess I have to engage in conversation with you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who said I was taking the train home with you? What if I wanted?
Oh my God!
What if I wanted to stay up here and get some dick?
Maybe.
What if I wanted to get some dick and cock up the butt? Well, I didn't douche.
Well, still, I mean, that would make a difference with you.
Well, we could honestly.
Wanna borrow my bulb?
We could use the mudslide as lube.
Anyway, so we promise next episode, since this was so short, I am so sorry. You know, we'll make up for it by posting more things on social media. Please follow us at Pioneers and Trailblazers on TikTok and Instagram, at Hey Peru on TikTok and Instagram for me,
at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, ClownFaceBinch on Twitter. No, ClownFaceBinch on TikTok, ClownFaceBitch on Twitter. Thank you so much for the birthday love. I got a lot of people DM me and like comments and stuff, and so
he still has yet to receive the nudes. The famous. Did you receive any?
No nudes were sent my way. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're focusing on career, so I guess we're not focusing on dick. It's fine. I haven't had sex on Thanksgiving.
It's a long time.
I know. For me,
we'll fix that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I'm doing.
No. Gabby was like, have you in Peru ever? And I was like, no. And she goes, oh, both bottoms. And I was like, yeah, girl.
Yeah, girl.
I was like, could you not tell?
But also we'll make the next episode extra long just to make up for this one. I promise. So we'll help. You know, we'll think of some topics. Please suggest any town hall topics that you want us to discuss. Like, what is the twink on the last episode? Send us your suggestions. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, prepare for Killers of the Flower Moon level length.
Please.
3.5 hours.
Yeah, Scorsese could never.
She could never.
Bye.